Come on and slam, and welcome to the jam. Come on and slam, and welcome to the jam. Welcome to the Space Jam. It's your chance, do your dance with the Space Jam. All right. Hey everybody, how you doing today? This is DB from the Backroom Crew, and with...
I'm sorry, I can't even. What was this? Why'd you start with the Space Jam?
I felt like starting with Space Jam.
Oh my gosh, man. Alright, aside from that, hi, I'm Wesley.
And we're today coming with you... I forgot. I don't know. I forgot all words after that. Anyway, I want to say I want to see Space Jam now. I want to see Space Jam.
Okay. Well,
I want to see this mega huge monsters versus these goofy cartoon characters.
Well, actually, that's kind of reminiscent of what we're going to be talking about somewhat.
Oh, you're talking about PlayStation versus Xbox, with Xbox being the
just
goofy monsters
versus all together.
Oh yeah, yep. Today with the podcast, we're going to be talking about verses and fandoms and all that hate that goes within. It's just so toxic, so toxic.
I don't know. I don't know. I feel that contest. Being able to have disagreements and all of this other stuff. They say it's healthy to have competition.
I mean, healthy competition is good. I mean, it's excellent actually to have healthy competition. But when it gets to the point where people are like, you have to choose which one, you have to choose either this side or that side, it's like we've been having it for years now, whatever. Sci-fi conventions always been filled with Star Wars versus Star Trek. And then anime conventions, they have Naruto versus One Piece versus Bleach. Then you have Dragon Ball versus Sailor Moon versus Yu Yu Hakusho. Even though Yu Yu Hakusho is no match, but that's just my opinion. But anyway, you've always had these fandoms that they get too big and they get really. I don't know if it's gone to the point of serious violence, but they've gone to the point of pretty much, hey, I'll kill your mother or whatever like that, or family or stuff like that.
And verbal abuse is still abuse.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, I can understand a lot of the hype and stuff that goes into a lot of the stuff that people feel passionate about. Whenever you have this one favorite thing in your entire existence, this is my thing, and then someone else comes over and they're like, oh well, this thing is better, then of course you want to defend your love for this one particular item. I'd say it like this, and I know we're gonna.
I guess that's why I don't have favorite things. I just like everything equally.
Yeah, I mean, but like how I was about to say,
mm-hmm.
I personally love the Elder Scrolls series.
Right.
And someone else would come over and tell me that the Dark Souls series is better, or something like that. And although I play Dark Souls a lot, I mean, I would love to stream, but we're working on that right now. I would honestly have to stick with the Elder Scrolls series, and I would have to feel like I would have to defend myself and say why this series is good, as opposed to your Dark Souls, insta-death kills and stuff, and not being able to get through the game if you're not good enough. Breath. Anyway.
Okay.
But in essence, it's like you as a person should, yes, love what you love about whatever it is, whether it be consoles versus PC or anything else. But at the same time, you have to take into account, you can't just be, assaulting another person because they feel some type of way about something else.
Or you can't be blindly loyal. You have to also recognize that, hey, I love this because of these reasons, but they have a lot of flaws. It's like right now with the Marvel versus DC thing, with Marvel recently trumping DC with Civil War versus Batman v Superman.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing with both of those movies. If you want to compare movies, you have to compare Batman vs Superman with actually the first Phase 1 Marvel movies, which would be Iron Man and Incredible Hulk.
Right.
And then if you do want to compare them, directly as far as sales and everything like that, you have to think of the way that their universes are being built. They're being built on different things.
Now, I would have to, on Marvel's defense here,
Mm-hmm.
let you be reminded that when Marvel first came out with their line of movies, outside of the fact when DC first came out with their line, they were both set in a time period where superhero movies weren't taken as serious as they are now.
Right.
Where, you have a lot more comedy and a lot more, goofy little moments or something
Well,
weird.
not even that. You're going to be criticized even harsher if you're something new.
Exactly.
It's like with Marvel, they'll have, they'll give them the leeway because they put out hit after hit.
Mm-hmm.
So even if they do a mistake or two there, it won't be as noticed. But
Right.
if you're kind of new coming in, then you're going to be looked at with a magnifying glass.
Yeah, but DC isn't new to the movie game.
Well, as far as the shared universe.
As far as shared universe, yes,
Mm-hmm.
they are. And that's where, the BVS thing came into play, where Batman and Superman that's a movie where it kind of scrutinized too harsh, I feel also. But either case, in the defense of both genres, in the defense of everyone, basically,
Right.
it's like there's like evil. There's an even level of a playing field here. Everybody's putting in their little chips, trying to see who's going to come out on top. Actually, who's coming out on top is the owners of these companies. So, in either case, I mean, that's honestly who's going to be trumping this whole deal. But in either case, as a fan, from a fan standpoint, and just as a culture of people loving whatever is coming out and enjoying whatever is coming out, play nice.
Yeah.
That's the whole point.
It's like, I'll bring up another, like we brought up before, Star Trek versus Star Wars. The recent Star Wars movie, Episode 8, I liked it, but I didn't think it was something surprising because a lot of the elements seem repeated. As far as the Star Trek movie, Into the Darkness, I actually liked that movie. It was actually enjoyable. It was different. I mean, yeah, it wasn't your traditional Star Trek movie, but I don't know. I guess the action in it and the story that they were trying to convey was actually pretty decent. Yet again, it's like what I said about Civil War. You could take the name off of the Star Trek Into Darkness and make it a different movie, and it probably would be good still.
Yeah,
and
I mean, as far as being
if we compare,
go ahead,
if we compare, both franchises or whatnot, I'm more into seeing stuff that's different. If I see something that's different, some franchises, they have a formula of what they want to do, how they want to do it, and everything like that. For stuff that's coming out that's new, I'm more excited for that stuff because it's like, okay, I want to see what you can do. See if you can catch my attention.
Mm-hmm.
See if you can catch my eye. I guess that makes me root for the underdog more to see what they can do.
Yeah.
Because it makes me, feel like, hey, rooting for the underdog, see what they can do. They put out something good. Now we got a show. And we've got it from both sides. I like I said, I like Marvel movies, Star Trek movies, Star Wars movies, DC movies, all of that.
But see, also fandom. Fandom is a big thing, especially when you're talking about.
It becomes really, really. What's the word? I just said it. I was saying it over and over. Not stagnant, but malicious and just violence sometimes.
And
you know,
I mean, yeah, but then you have your hardcore fans who are just like, I don't want to see anything else. You know, I don't want to hear anything else except this one thing. And yeah, I mean that's okay if you're just a big fan, but at the same time, your movie genres and your game genres are kind of open source if you think about it, as opposed to just your comic side of things or your books or whatever, because you have so many different ways to put a story out there. Spider-Man,
yeah,
owned by two separate companies. Fox, Marvel still has the rights, obviously, because they're creative.
Remember, it's Sony and Marvel.
Oh, Sony and Marvel. I'm sorry, Sony. And Marvel. I keep saying Fox. I hate Fox.
Yeah,
that's why.
They're owned by Sony and Marvel, but Sony and Marvel were able to, work through the differences and
this one time.
Yeah,
and it's like,
but I mean, they almost had to, because it's kind of like the whole Nintendo versus Sega thing.
Mm-hmm.
Sega at one point was killing them, but then they dug themselves a grave when they released console after console back to back.
Right.
And it's like, now you look at them, they only make video games. And who do they mainly make video games for? Nintendo.
Yeah.
And who is their mascot? What system is he mainly on, contracted out to? Nintendo. Sonic, you lost. You lost your
Sonic
war.
Sonic was awesome, man.
Sonic was awesome. The Sega Genesis and Dreamcast were both awesome systems. But then they released CD, Saturn, right back to back to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. Come on, man. It's like they dug their own grave. And I think a lot of companies can look to that and try not to do that to themselves. They can look to that as an example and be like, okay, I'm not going to do the same thing that these companies did in order to lose this, versus battle or whatnot.
Right.
Make smart decisions that will put your company over.
Yeah.
Example, recently heard that DC signed Jeff Johns as one of the co-heads.
Mm-hmm.
Which is essentially making him a CCO, kind of like Kevin Feige. Right. And they're going to put DC Films in their own separate branch, just like Marvel Films is.
Okay.
So when you think about it, they're looking at that example and they're like, okay, that worked, let's do it. So now they're going to do it, and it's going to end up better for them. At least it should.
It should, and you have to also think about, too, a lot of times when a company copies another company as far as business strategy,
mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, it may get across pretty good for the company. Some things might be lost for the content, and that's something that you want to be careful not to have happen as well. And I'm not saying that it will happen. I'm just saying a lot of times, if you're not able to, separate and consolidate properly, again, information just gets lost. You may not be able to reach out to the specific demographic that you may be looking for. Or if anything, you might end up losing some form of sale or something.
Or alienating your core audience, like the ones that are your major supporters and backers.
Right. But, I mean, again, hey, if it works, it works. I mean, you're fixing a leaky faucet here. I mean, there's not but so much you can do, and you can probably have it get turned out, or you could end up causing the other pipes in the house to burst. You never know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But let's get into it. You remember during probably the early 2000s, which side did you go to more towards? Did you go towards the Cartoon Network side or the Nickelodeon side?
I was always Cartoon Network side.
Always Cartoon Network side?
I mean, I tried to bounce into Nickelodeon, but their content, it just seemed like it was a little too risque for my taste.
During that time period, I have to say the same thing. I bounced over to the Cartoon Network train because that's during the late 90s into 2000s, that's when it was gold.
Yeah. And
I bounced over to that train, and I really lost everything that was Nickelodeon. Mm-hmm. The last time I saw Nickelodeon, they were still playing Doug, Rugrats, and, their first generation of Nicktoons.
Right.
So I couldn't tell you. I know everybody was talking about, Invader Zim and Rocket Power, and I'm just like, I saw like 2 episodes of Rocket Power. I could not. Nah, I couldn't get onto it.
Same
and
thing
Invader
with
Zim,
yeah.
Invader Zim, I probably got to go back and see, because from what I've been hearing, that show was just balls of awesomeness.
I mean, yeah, it got a lot of good reviews, especially from the more, I guess, I don't know how you would put this classification of human, but
goth.
Yeah, okay.
The goths.
Yeah, it had a larger audience there.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I could
like the goths and a lot of it was a nerd show, so a lot of nerds love that show. But I guess a big question is, why do we end up choosing that? Why do we end up going that route or whatnot? Is it because of bandwagon? Is it because of personal preference? Because of stuff that we like or whatnot? Because, it's not like Nickelodeon just stopped putting out content.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no. I guess it would have to, bandwagoning. If you think about it as a whole, media really hits you hard whenever you're a young adolescent.
Right.
Yeah. It's just difficult for a person to really just go off of what they know without having any form of influence, to try to pick something that's just for them. And I mean, some things just hit people certain ways, I remember when I was watching Cartoon Network, they have more of a classic feel with their content. It was more like homey-ish. Like, I felt like I was watching a decent cartoon as opposed to, the other radical things. And also Disney, when they were putting out their content, it was more so geared towards the, they were going more so live action shooting, and they were doing a lot more of their, studio recordings and stuff like that, which was, okay, in those forms, they hit you different ways. Like, I just personally did not like that at the time. I felt more so comfortable watching cartoons.
Yeah.
And then obviously Nickelodeon with the same thing with their game shows and all of that. So, I don't know. It's just, I feel that it's just how they drive it towards you, and then also how you feel. They did a lot of advertising. Cartoon Network did with some of their products back in the early 2000s too, like cereal boxes and all of that. So it wasn't like you were just, it was just you had to cut on the TV to see it. No, you were actually being exposed to a lot of this stuff.
Oh yeah, because that's when, like, from a company that started in the early 90s, like Cartoon Network, it was like early 90s, and you had to like get a special subscription in order to watch it. And then it just like blowing up within 10 years, and then right now it's probably at like the 25 years or whatever.
Yeah, something like that.
So it's just blown up since then.
Oh yeah.
And I guess another thing that kind of brings up is choosing between both of them. I feel like it shouldn't be a thing, because you can have both. I mean, it's not beyond anyone having both. But I guess when you break down like a lot of the rivalries or whatnot for what they do, let's look at some of them. Cartoon Network versus Nickelodeon at that time. As you said, one was going towards more realistic TV shows and like, actors and stuff. One was going against
was Disney. You're talking about Nickelodeon.
Well, yeah, Nickelodeon
game shows.
Yeah, game shows and stuff.
Yeah.
And then you have cartoons from Cartoon Network.
Right.
With Xbox, PlayStation,
Lordy.
You've got mainly the first person shooter genre and a lot of kind of action adventure games based in the US versus JRPGs and other foreign games.
Yeah, but then also that's just more so on the software side. On the hardware side, you're looking at the customization of options and stuff. It's a lot easier to customize an Xbox as it is opposed to a PlayStation.
If we go with certain gens.
Okay, yeah.
Certain gens or whatever, because it's more from the way that PlayStations are, you can customize them. It's just you have to think more about it. It's not just, oh, just plug this on and it goes.
They whom are of the common variety would tend to disagree there. But yeah.
Well, we know someone that would disagree with you about that.
Unfortunately, they are not here.
But yeah, I mean, okay. Also, look at Star Trek versus Star Wars. They both take place in outer space, but one was based off of worlds meeting each other and being political, and it was kind of like new inhabitants basically learning from each other and separating like racial lines or spatial alien lines or whatever like that. And then you had Star Wars, which you didn't deal with that. It was a space opera. It had action, adventure, romance.
I honestly couldn't even put those two into the same boat if you look at how, outside of the space thing, they're two completely different things. Mm-hmm. Whereas Star Trek was more, like you said, political. Star Trek was more political.
Social,
Star Wars was more like, let's go here and shoot this thing. There's a bad guy there. Let's handle it. And, a bunch of crazy stuff and powers and whatnot.
Until it got to the prequels, which they tried to kind of
get more political, but still, it was just not going off right. And that's the reason why. They were treating Star Wars like it was something completely different. You can't put a new element in something and then expect it to work all the time. But then again, they were trying to change up basically almost the whole thing until the last one where they added in a bunch more of the, power uses and the force and stuff, which again, all the CGI also threw people off completely. But hey, it was a different time. CGI was just like the go-to thing for all of your magic and alien people at the time. Cut out a lot of the costume work and whatnot. But in either case, the same thing with I just don't see them. I don't see them as same types only because of the space thing. If you come out with something else, if you came out with another space trilogy or something like that, and it was more geared towards the political side of things, then I would say that would be the opposing series or genre or movie altogether with Star Trek. But if you came out with another space whatever and it was geared more towards the the soap opera feel and all of the bad guy versus good guy stuff, and then I would put that against Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
But that was just me. I'm sorry.
Right.
Please continue.
And also look at DC versus Marvel. One is based off of more ground level humans dealing with superpowers, other than DC being superpower individuals trying to deal with being human.
But another thing too, with Marvel, and especially with their interactions with the Asgardians and all of that, they tend to throw in the fact that Thor and all of that, so they're gods and blah blah blah. But essentially, they're kind of not. They kind of are, but they're kind of not, and that's only because of the technological advance thing.
I forgot the whole like way that Marvel explains their gods, because they not only have the the Norse gods, but they also have Greek gods. They have the Japanese gods, and they also have Native American gods.
Yeah, they're taking it more so out of the metaphysical and they're putting it into the technological.
The best way that I can put it is kind of like the way DBZ does it, with like they have King Kai, and then they have the Great Kais, the Outer Kais or whatnot, and then they have the actual like gods that are of the universe.
Yeah.
I guess Marvel does it the same way. That's why you have beings like Galactus, the Triumphant, can't pronounce it. But that and like the all-knowing being in Marvel. Forgot his name, but it's supposed to represent Stan Lee and Jack Kirby.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, that's why you have those beings basically outranking, like, Thor and everything.
Yeah. But I always thought of when I first saw I first heard the explanation of Thor and Asgard as a whole. I just assumed that they were more so along the human. They would be more humanoidish and just a more advanced form of humanity.
Mm.
That's just how I saw it, because they still have the same struggles, and it's not like there's anything different. It's just they use weaponry that they can forge out of suns, which again is just technology. But then again, magic, what they love to classify as, is just, technology you don't know about.
Yeah. Until you get to Doctor Strange.
And then that's a whole nother level.
Oh yeah.
Can't wait for it.
So I guess it's gonna be a quick discussion, but I guess your closing thoughts on, we started on other things there, but closing thoughts on the whole versus fandom, and what do you think we should do about it? Well, not what we should do about it. What do you think fans should do about it? You think there's always going to be like the whole nuh-uh, that's not like that, and then nuh-uh, that's like that, and basically the arguing? You think it's always going to be that, or you think it's going to come to a point where I respect your decision, but this is how I feel about it, and this is what I like?
You're talking about a bunch of people who like to spend their weekends eating Cheetos and playing video games. I'm going to have to say that it will not end like that. But what I will say is that it's probably best, and for everyone's interested, just put a little chill on it. I mean, yeah, you're a very passionate person, and that's a great thing. That's what makes you a human being. If you have no passion, then you're just a mindless zombie going through life, just picking up whatever someone throws at you, and it's just like, oh, okay, whatever. And that's what makes a lot of this stuff good. That's what makes me liking the Xbox over the PlayStation 4 good, and then having everybody else be like, oh, Wesley, no, this is better, and I'm just like, I stand my ground, sir. It makes for interesting conversation, and it really bolsters the nerd community and just every community basically as a whole. But when you start disrespecting people, when you start, immoralizing both yourself and others, when you start insulting people off of what you love, it just doesn't. It's not fun anymore. You just, you're becoming a hindrance to someone else's love of whatever it is that you love, and whatever else they love.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, if we can get over that, and people start, throwing, proverbial bottles at each other's heads, and it'd be good.
I mean, yeah, I have to say, there's certain things that I prefer because certain things that I will die hard prefer because the stories has always seemed a little bit better. But I guess it's also about giving stuff a chance, Like I love Dot Hack. I should probably watch Sword Art Online to see what's the big deal about it, what people love about it,
Yeah.
I should also check out other.
It's the feels, bro. It's just all the feels.
I mean, like I said, everybody has their reasons. I should also check out the other MMORPG animes just to see what they're like. I guess it's all about trying new things or whatnot. It's like, hey, you could be a diehard Star Wars fan, check out old school Wrath of Khan, and be like, wow, this is legit.
Mm-hmm.
You can be, heck, within the old generation, you could like the prequels more than you like the sequel, more than you like the original.
Right.
You could like Star Trek, Next Generation more than you like Voyager, or Voyager versus that, vice versa. So I guess it's all just, I guess my major thing is try new things, see if you like it. If you don't, let people know exactly why you don't like it. Don't just come out there and say, I don't like this because it's not this. You know? So.
Yeah. And that also comes with the homework, but that's another thing.
Yeah. So,
learn what you're talking about.
Exactly. So, this has been DB, and
this has been the illustrious, wonderful Wesley
from the Backroom Crew, and we will see you guys next time. Remember, show some class always, and act like you've been somewhere before. Peace.
Every time you say the outro, I just want to say something else, and I'm just like, what can I add to that? You just shut it off right there. It's just like, dang.
You could be like, zip them up and zip them out.
Remember, always wear protection. I don't always, but when I do.